Hey everyone, Mtashed here, and the Eula Banner is official. It's not out just yet, but the Eula Banner is here, and I didn't want to report on it until it was, for sure. And it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. We've got Xingqiu on here, who is one of, if not the best support in the game overall. He can work in a ton of different comps. I wanted to talk about some of the synergies here. I want to talk about Xin Yan because there's something interesting in her kit, depending on how many constellations you have. And then we've got Beidou. Beidou's fine. Beidou's fine. If this was official, I think it would be a banger banner. Beidou's fine, but one of the issues here is if you're someone that's wishing on this banner, there's 3 Claymore users on it. And so if you get a bunch of these, where are you going to get all these Claymores from? And that's something I wanted to address before I get into the characters is, if you are a newer player wishing on this banner, I don't love it. I truly don't. I think Xin Yan has her places. I'll talk about her in depth in a minute. I think Beidou can be interesting. And Xingqiu is absolutely fantastic. But Eula is a physical damage dealer. And I understand, like, there's going to be a video of someone doing insane damage with her. I know it. But this is like a huge skip for me. Like, looking at this banner, there is no effing way I will spend a single primo gem on this. Now, that is a personal thing. I don't really need Eula. I mean, I would love to get C6 Xingqiu. I'm right on the cusp of getting C6 Xingqiu, but I do not need any Beidou, don't want any Beidou. And Xin Yan, after you get a couple of constellations, you don't really need that many more, depending on how you want to use her, but let's look at the character constellations and talk a little bit further. But for me, this one is a pretty big yikes. I'm skipping it. This one is kind of trash for me, and that's going to be the easiest primo gems I ever saved. So as for Xingqiu, great character as a base character, and if you get constellations, honestly, it's more the merrier. It's one of those characters where you just get better and better and better. This gives you an extra sword that rotates around your body and gives you damage reduction. That's amazing. This actually extends the duration of his Q ability, which is chef's kiss. This is a lot of extra damage and also decreases the Hydra resistance of opponents. That's really cool as well. And so he just gets stronger and stronger as you go. I'm right on the cusp of getting C6 here, so it's hard not to want to wish. But even though I would get one of the best bonuses in the game, I'm still not wishing because I'm just not interested in the other characters. And there's a particular reason why. So number 1 is Beidou. I don't love Beidou. I made a whole video on why I don't love Beidou. I recommend you watch it. I recommend you watch that video. I think she's fine, but I think there's just something missing with Beidou. And one of the biggest ones is with her talents here, this Stormbreaker, this ability is cracked. It is so sick. But the energy cost on it is 80. It feels like it takes forever to get her Q ability back, and it's frustrating. Also, with the Tide Collar, the counter attack, enemy AI is stupid. There's lots of situations where a slime is going to jump on you, or if a 2 enemies charging at you, and you are going to be able to counter, and it's going to feel amazing. But there are so many times where enemies just don't attack you, or you are, juggling them up and knocking them up, and they're not attacking you, that I feel like a lot of the time she's lackluster. I'm sorry, I can't help it. As for constellations, C1, meh. It's kind of meh. It makes you a little bit tankier because you get more shield, but C2 is where she starts to really pop off. If you're going to use her as a support and do a lot of electric damage, C2 is pretty much a must because you're going to be chaining that electricity to multiple targets. She does get better, as you go, and I think it's C6. Like, she could be a decent main DPS just in the sense that you're getting some electro damage built in and just some extra little stuff, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Beidou anymore. She was one of my favorite characters. She's visually my favorite character. But there's just some things in her kit that I feel like she's lackluster in a lot of situations. Maybe they buff her, but for right now, I don't love her. And Xin Yan! I think Xin Yan is awesome. But C2, once you get C2, that's about as far as you go. I was so excited to get C2 because these are, I mean, honestly, you just want C2. This boosts your crit rate on your ultimate to 100%, which is awesome. But also, this will give you a shield every time you pop your Q ability. If you want her to be a support, C2 is kind of what makes it all bread and butter. The other stuff here, though, this is one of the things that is interesting. Sweeping Fervor reduces the opponent's physical resistance by 15%. So if you actually got a bunch of Xinyan, you can actually debuff the enemy. Now, will this stack with Eula's debuff? I'm not actually sure. I'm not 100% sure. But that is a synergy that is definitely available. And past that, like C6, awful. C5 is just more damage. But Xinyan, I think she's okay. But I think she's a little bit niche. The only reason I use Xinyan is on certain floors of the Spiral Abyss to cleanse. Because this shield that she gets, it pulses and it actually pulls like different elements off of you and different debuffs. And that's really valuable in my opinion. But there's other characters like Bennett that can do it as well. And I don't know. These two are fine. And he is amazing. But when you put it all together and you're going to essentially have 3 Claymore users, right? You're going to have 3 Claymore users. I don't know where you're going to get these Claymores. I'm skipping. All right, so Xingqiu, this ability here has damage reduction, right? It also, if you run up to someone and you just stand by them, it'll apply that Hydro debuff. So you can do Vaporizes. In the case of Eula, you'd be able to freeze them. If you're using an Electro character like Beidou, you'd be able to chain electricity around them, which is really cool. You can see that electric charge there. Now, the passive here is also going to be really good here. Or sorry, not the passive, but the Q ability, the passive damage. Because you can pop this with Xingqiu, and then you could switch to Eula, and when you attack, it's actually going to be sending out those kind of water blades. Jesus Christ, stop. And this is going to be a lot of passive damage. You're going to be able to constantly freeze the enemy, which I think is really, really cool. And it'll allow you to leave, Eula on the field doing damage and freezing them, and you're going to be able to do a bunch of shatters, which does a nice burst of damage. It does a bunch of physical damage. It'll work. I think it'll work, and I think it'll hit hard. And that combo will for sure be pretty nice. Beidou is smoking hot, so she gets lots of points. But also, her counter is really interesting. This is one of the most satisfying abilities in the game. Being able to block a bunch of damage with the huge shield, and being able to throw it right back at enemies. Beidou can be absolutely stacked. Like, insanely good. When you tank a hit, if you time it properly, like, you just one-bang anything. And this is with a Beidou. Apparently, she one-banged herself. That is with a Beidou that has no damage built on her. Like, I don't even know if she has artifacts anymore. She has some artifacts at level 16. Okay, a couple low-level ones. Has a little bit of crit damage and stuff. She got a level 80 weapon, but you can make her do insane damage. Now, Beidou, unfortunately, she can be frustrating, because even if you're generating a bunch of particles, it feels like it takes a long time to get her Q ability a lot of the time. It's not the biggest issue if you have energy recharge, but it just feels like she takes so much energy in order to get that back. So Beidou will actually chain electricity to different opponents, and it doesn't matter if Beidou's on the field or if other people are, but she's going to chain electricity and do damage to all these targets. But if you swap to another character, you can also chain it with them. And so, between Xingqiu and between Beidou, you could chain a lot of electricity. And so what you could do is you could pop it with Beidou, pop it with Xingqiu, and then you swap on over to Eula and just hit like a truck. Now, Xinyan is pretty cool because when you use your E ability and hit multiple targets, it's actually going to give you a shield that will repeatedly pulse and do pyro damage. Now, this will also cleanse any elements that might be on you, like Cryo, Hydro, and I think it's a really, really powerful thing to have. Now, she's also pretty cool because if you get a bunch of constellations, when you press your Q ability, I'm going to show you this later, you get that big shield as well, and it will pulse as well. And every time you use that Q ability, it's going to be doing that. And so Xinyan can be a really cool support, applying pyro damage to enemies, and also by being a cleanser in the Spiral Abyss, which is very, very valuable because there's major debuffs in the Spiral Abyss, and if you don't have someone who can cleanse, it can be a lot tougher than normal. I feel like there are a lot of characters out there that are just better, in a lot of situations, other than Xingqiu. This is God tier, S tier character, absolutely amazing. But I think you can get away without Beidou. I think you can get away without Xinyan on a lot of different pieces of content. And so, if I'm looking at if I was going to spend my Primo gems, it's a little bit hard to recommend that banner and be really, really hyped about it. You can do it. If you want Eula, you can do it. But I'm not going to be the guy saying, you've got to get this banner. You got to wish on it, because there's going to be other banners with Xingqiu on it. There's going to be other banners with maybe some other supports. And I think if it was Xingqiu and maybe Fischl, I would be a little bit happier. I think Fischl would be a lot cooler. But again, there's 3 characters on that banner that are using claymores. I don't know where you're going to get all these claymores. I don't know what your account looks like. But for me, the banner is a major skip. Like, part of me wants to wish just to see if I can get my C6 on this guy. But my interest in the banner was pretty low. It just tanked. It went to 0. I will not pull a single primo gem on that thing in case I waste my pity, because I've got like 13, 14 pages of pity. I cannot risk it. I cannot risk it on that banner. But maybe you guys feel different. I don't want to be a complete Debbie Downer. There is some potential there, but I'm not going to hype it and pretend that it's amazing and like this like shocking must-have thing. I feel like this banner, Zhongli's pretty good, Down is pretty good, and then 2 characters that are just like, for me. And I don't know, I haven't seen a banger banner for a while, so maybe the one after this, I don't know when, but for right now, I'm saving up those primos. Maybe by the time I wish, I'll have like 8,000. I don't know. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And if you guys are interested in an amazing energy drink, go to advanced.gg/mtashed. Check out the mango splash. That's me. That's me on the package. There's a bunch of different other amazing drinks there, and you can get a beautiful little discount by using code MTASHED at checkout. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Quick little thing. If I had to say, like, you're close to pity, should you go on Eula, or should you just quickly try to get Zhongli? Zhongli is so good. He is an account-changing character. I'm going to warn you now because there's a couple days left. If you're on the fence, now that you've seen the banner, and, you know, you can make that decision a little bit easier now that you know all the 4 stars, I don't think Eula is going to change your account as much as he is. I'm just going to say that right now. That is a personal thing. I think he is SSSS tier, especially now that I've built him a little bit more. And I don't think Eula is that. She'll be fine. She'll be fun. Again, I'm sorry if I'm dissuading you, but I know that a lot of people save primo gems for a long period of time, and I'm not seeing the hype. I'm not seeing the hype. I know you guys are freaks that are seeing her sneeze change your life, but for me, I'm out. Peace!